Hello and welcome to Your Individual Wedding, the wedding podcast that helps you feel seen and celebrated as you plan a day as unique as you are. Morning, Mercedes. Thank you so much for joining us and being part of our podcast. Can you just start by telling us a little bit about you and the wedding business that you have, first of all?
Yes, hi. So my name's Mercedes from For Your Party Weddings and Events. We're based in Bexley in South London and cover all of Kent and South London. We do venue decor and styling. And we try to be really eco-friendly. So we don't supply any plastic, any single-use plastic, any balloons. We try to hand make a lot of our props ourselves using reclaimed wood. And we only cover a small area to try and keep our carbon footprint low. And every booking, we plant a tree with ecology. And yeah, so that's us. In a nutshell.
I love that. That's brilliant. And not only are you in the wedding industry, you've recently had experience of planning a wedding. So tell us a little bit about your relationship, first of all, how you met and how the engagement came about.
Yeah, so it's all so this is actually my second time being married.
Okay.
So I met my partner online after my first marriage kind of went tits up. And yeah, we just started chatting and then we met up and we had our first date at Blue Water Shopping Centre. And we just had a coffee and then just things kind of spiraled and I fell quite quickly, probably too quickly, but fell quite quickly. And yeah, that was that. And he's amazing. He helps me with everything because I'm disabled. He's literally I call him the heavy because he carries everything in my business. So yeah, he's everything to me and I love him to bits.
Amazing. That's amazing. So just out of interest, so your first date was Blue Water. Where was your second date? Can you remember?
Where was our second date? I think it was probably just a park. There's a park near us called Oxley's Wood and we would go there all the time. So I think that was probably the second one. They've got a little cafe. We just walk around and chat for like hours and then stop here and get a sandwich and then walk a bit more.
And what was it? You say you fell quite quickly. What was it? What was the immediate attraction?
I'm not sure what was the immediate attraction. I think he's super cute, so that helps. Yeah. But he's just so lovely and caring, and he instantly, I just felt like I was the only woman in the world. Whenever I was around him, there was nobody else was important but me, and that was it's just an amazing feeling to have. It feels so special to one person. It's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's not too intrusive a question, Mercedes, you say you have a disability. What is your disability?
So I've got arthritis. When I had my baby from my previous marriage, I had some complications. I had something called pelvic girdle pain, which is pain in your lower back and pelvis area. And it all just kind of got on top of me. I was bedbound for a lot of that pregnancy and it caused early onset of arthritis, which I'm still struggling with now. I recently, last year I had weight loss surgery, which helped quite a lot to reduce the pain, but I still struggle with it on a daily basis, just not as bad as it used to be. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm dealing with at the moment.
Yeah, and I suppose with a business like yours, because you're doing a lot of styling, and like you say, there's the lifting element, and there's shifting stuff around from venue to venue. I suppose that does have a bearing on your arthritis. So how do you manage it day to day?
So I take painkillers, ibuprofen just as a normal, on a normal day. On a really bad day, I can take anything up to like 2 or 3 tramadol tablets, which are quite strong painkillers. If I know that I'm going to do an event that's quite big on and quite heavy, I will take one like before I leave for the event, just so that it's there ready for the impact that event's going to have on me. But generally, ibuprofen works for me when it comes to events.
Yeah. Okay. So for you, it's sort of part of your day-to-day life. It's something that you're having to think about ahead of your working day and how to integrate that into your working day. Yeah. Okay. So you say that your partner tends to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Is he involved in your business, or is it just, he's there when you need him?
No, he is literally, so at first it was just he'd be there whenever I needed him and he'd help out. But now he's literally part of the business. I call him my business partner because he helps me with everything. He's also my my bookkeeper because he's actually a bookkeeper, so he does that as well. So it's literally just, I say when I say in my posts on like social media and stuff, I say we. And I've had people say, I thought it was just you. I thought you ran this business by yourself. And I was like, yeah, I used to, but it's not now. There's me and my husband, and he helps me nonefold. So yeah, it's definitely a partnership now.
Nice.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's really nice. So obviously you've been planning your wedding or planned your wedding. How did being in the wedding industry help with that? Were there advantages to sort of knowing what the industry was like and what it was about?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because this is my second wedding, I knew exactly what I didn't want.
Right, okay.
So we recently did our legal wedding in Dartford. That was in August. And we've got our big like party wedding next year, August.
Right, okay.
So we just got the legal bit out of the way, basically, so that we can have the wedding that we really want next year. So yeah, it's been, I want to say easy without sounding too cocky, just because I already knew, because I work in the industry, I already know exactly what I want. I know who I want.
Yeah.
And I was on it because I know how quickly everyone gets booked up. Yeah. As soon as I was proposed to, I was like, right, I know who I want for this, that, and that. And I just went in and just started booking everyone. And yeah, so it's been easy. The only thing that I've struggled with, I would say, is inspiration for my look. That's the only thing that I've struggled with. And that's mostly because I struggle to see me in the wedding industry at all. So being plus size and being a Black woman, it's hard because when you type into Pinterest, Black wedding, it's usually just like gothic weddings that come up.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so you don't get, there's not a lot of Black women or Black couple wedding inspiration.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one thing that I've struggled with. And since I've lost weight, I've lost 12 stones in the past year.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, from the weight loss surgery. So my style has completely changed. I used to wear like really baggy things and like flowy things all the time. But now I'm like, I want to wear fitted. I want to wear cropped. I want to wear, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
My confidence has grown. So now I'm like, okay, let's have a look at something a bit different for my wedding day. But everything that I'm seeing is like white women, and they're all skinny. I mean, I know I've lost weight, but I'm not that skinny. So I'm just like, how's that going to look on me? I don't know. Maybe that's not really for my kind of size. So that's one thing that I'm struggling with. Everything else was easy. I'm in the wedding industry. I knew exactly what I wanted. But when it comes to my style and what I want to look like on the day, that's one thing I'm definitely struggling with.
Okay.
Yeah. We've had these conversations a few times now, Mercedes, and I think Ross and I agree that whilst we can see improvements in the wedding industry when it comes to representation, and I think it's Justin Alexander, the big dress designer, has just launched their latest campaign, and one of their models has Down syndrome. My daughter,
amazing.
I was like bouncing off the chair when I saw it, like, yes, at last. But one disabled person in one campaign still doesn't give you an awful lot of choice when you're...
Yeah, exactly.
Like you. I'm imagining, Mercedes, it's similar for you when you're looking for good representation of people like me, that you're seeing the odd one, but that's not like a Pinterest board for... Yeah,
exactly. It's hard to form a Pinterest board with 2 photos. Because that's so far what I've seen. But yeah, it's hard, but I guess you just have to try and imagine what it would look like on you and your size and that kind of jazz. But I mean, I've recently started doing styled wedding photo shoots myself, because it got to the point where I was like, if I want to see more plus size, more Black women in the wedding industry, maybe I need to get in front of the camera instead of always working behind the camera.
Yeah.
So I've done 4 styled shoots now, where I was the model, and sometimes I'll drag my husband, although he hates. Sometimes I'll drag him into doing it, but one of the shoots I did, I was just one of the brides. But yeah, it's nice to be able to see me, really. It's just nice to see me or people like me in the wedding industry, in the magazines, in the blogs, because you just don't, and it's a nice change.
Yeah. How has that experience been of being on a styled shoot, and sort of how do you manage or know that they're doing it with the right intention? Does that make sense, that you're not a token Black bride, to tick a box, so to speak?
You see, I literally struggled with that, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I literally struggled with a shoot recently where I was asked to style, and it was a themed wedding, which was like a Moroccan themed wedding, which is like African, and highly against LGBTQ, but they wanted a gay couple. And I struggled with that, because I was like, first of all, you wouldn't find a gay couple in Morocco, and if you would, they wouldn't be openly married in a bridal magazine. It just didn't match for me. And then it was, somebody suggested to them about, oh, maybe you should have some Black suppliers if it's going to be a Moroccan themed styled shoot. So they just took the word Moroccan out of it to make it easier.
Oh my goodness.
God.
Yeah. So it played on me, and I was like, actually, I can't do this. So I just said, sorry, I'm not going to be able to be part of this shoot. I'm not. I just don't want to be associated with. I'm Black. I'm bisexual. There's too many red flags. I'm just not here for it. So yeah, that is definitely the tokenism. It's a bit of a struggle when it comes to it. I guess it's a really hard fine line, because you get these really lovely suppliers who are completely genuine and they just really want to work with you, and then you get these people who are like, well, I've never done a Black couple, so maybe I should look for a Black couple for this one, or I've never done a shoot with Black suppliers, so maybe I should look for some Black suppliers. But is that really the reason why you should be doing it, or is it because they're really amazing and you want to work with them? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah, and I see that from an LGBTQ perspective, and I've spoken that before. It's great to see more choice available to those couples, but how many are genuinely allies or have lived that experience, and how many just feel they have to, or how many are doing it as a performance? Yeah, exactly. And it's really hard, because you, like you say, you want to see more of yourself represented, but you want a genuine sort of reason for being represented, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why conversations like this are so important, because if I'm being truly honest, Mercedes, until you mentioned the fact that gay couples are in danger in countries like Morocco, do you know, that wouldn't have popped into my head. A styled shoot, that sort of bohemian vibe. Oh, we'll get a gay couple in for that shoot because, we want to see a representation of a gay couple. Actually putting those two things together, the fact that culture does not support the LGBTQ plus community, do you know, that wouldn't have popped into my head. So conversations like this are so important, because that's people like me go, oh yeah, of course. Of course.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
And I suppose there's almost that element of trying to, again, ticking too many boxes, is shoving everything into one shoot to kind of say, look, we do all sorts. We cater to everyone, and and then it just doesn't work at all. It doesn't. Not genuine, is it, at all?
But I think with styled shoots, I think there is still this situation with styled shoots, and a lot of suppliers like us get involved in styled shoots, not really knowing enough about the shoot beforehand. And I think there's a naivety, especially for new businesses in the industry, around, I mean, I get contacted probably once a week asking if I will send accessories to a styled wedding shoot. And I'm quite careful now, and I tend to want to know what's the intention behind the shoot. You know, where are the images going to go? Who else is involved? Partly because I want it to be a really good representation of me and what my ethos is. And I don't want my accessories involved in something that perhaps would trigger my sort of anxiety around inclusion. And you know, and I am a bit mean, and I do sort of want to see good photos, so I will know who's the photographer. And I do think that there is still a naivety where people don't really think about the intention. Why are we doing this? You know, is it just because we want our photos in a magazine, or is it because we want it to say something about our beliefs and our intention as a business? And I think I do still feel like a lot of the styled shoots are behind the curve, and I don't think it's intentional, but there is a naivety around those sorts of, we'll just throw a few things that look good together and hope for the best.
Yeah, definitely.
So it is probably our job to be educating and not waiting for other people to sort of be the educators. So but yeah, thank you for that little nugget. I just honestly, I'm going to be looking out for that now, because I wouldn't have thought about it before at all. That's amazing. So did you feel like you were cheating a little bit? Because I always feel like, so when a couple of friends of mine got married recently, and they contacted me and said, we're getting married, we've got no idea where to start, you know, where to look for a photographer or a stylist or somebody to make a cake. And I was there like, right, okay, get the book open, and you just know, don't you? It's like bang, 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 and you just reel out this lovely list of amazing suppliers. So did you feel like you were cheating a little bit, and you were like, you got the inside information on who was good and who to contact?
To be honest, I did feel a little bit, because I remember the stress that I went through on my first wedding, and it was stressful because obviously when you don't know what you're doing and you don't work in the industry, you've got to research every single company that you go through. I mean, you don't have to, but you'd be foolish not to. Research every single company that you want to use and go in and read all their reviews and go through their websites and check everything out. Whereas this time I knew exactly who I wanted to work with. I knew what their reviews were like. I knew most of them I've either worked with them before, or I've seen their work and been following them for ages. So it did feel a little bit cheatery. I did feel like, oh, bish, bash, bosh. And then in my head, I was like, I should just plan weddings. And I was like, no, I'm not planning. I'm not doing it. I'm just going to dress them, and I'm going to leave the planning for the wedding planners.
Yeah, good call.
Definitely. Definitely.
So you said you knew from your first wedding what you didn't want. What were the things that you didn't want?
I had balloons at my first wedding.
Oh, okay.
Awful things. To be fair, it was my mum who wanted balloons against my will, because I've never really liked balloons. I mean, more now because of the environment, then I just didn't like them. But my mum was like, oh, you have to have balloons, it's a celebration. I was just like, oh my God, Mum, if you're paying for them, you can have them whatever you want, I don't care. So I had balloons, and I was like, absolutely not, we're not having any balloons. I don't even have balloons at like my son's birthday party. I don't know if you saw my stories on Instagram today. My son came back from his dad's house this weekend, and he's come back with this little bouquet of balloons, and I'm like, why didn't you leave them at your dad's house? Like, seriously, I was so pissed when I saw him turn up with these balloons. And he knows as well how much I hate balloons, so he's done it on purpose. But yeah, so that's one thing I definitely won't be having at my wedding. We are trying to have a zero waste wedding as well.
Okay.
So the catering is this amazing company called Doghouse Pizza Company, and they are doing serve fresh pizza, and they're doing it by the slice. So you eat what you want, and then so that they don't make too many, basically.
That's a good idea.
We're not having a sit down meal. There's no starters or anything like that. We may have some. We've got a charcuterie wall coming with like little charcuterie cups, which are biodegradable. We're thinking we may not do favors just because they usually just get left behind. If we do, it's going to be edible so they can eat it and then that's it, done. So zero waste. We're trying to make them again. And we're going to have like a kind of Ibiza vibe, party vibe. We just want it to be really relaxed, really laid back. I've got a couple secret surprises which I'm not going to name because I've not actually told my husband about them.
Oh yet. Nice. Oh, I like that.
So make sure you're following me on Instagram to see that. It's gonna be a huge party vibe.
I like it.
So are you wearing heels, or are you wearing heels and then packing a pair of flats so you can?
So I'm not 100% sure. I think I might wear heels or fancy shoes. So I'm a lot taller than my partner. So sometimes I like to wear flats just so that we're about the same height. So I might wear flats, but then change into like trainers or something similar for the evening, I think, because there's going to be a lot of drinking and a lot of partying, and I'm not stacking it. I'm not stacking it on my
You're staying upright for the whole duration.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
So we've been obviously talking about representation, and you're in the thick of planning or have been planning your wedding. Have you felt well represented, or do you feel that we still have a way to go as an industry? I hate calling us the wedding industry. It sounds really sort of, I don't know, corporate, and I don't corporate. But yeah, so because you've got inside knowledge, then obviously the people to go to and that you feel safe and comfortable with. But have you, in your work life or in your wedding planning life, come across suppliers that you feel are getting it wrong or could be doing things better?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, when I first got married, I went looking for wedding dresses, and being a big girl, I struggled to no end. Like every bridal shop I went to, they were like, well, we don't have anything in your size to fit you now, but whatever you see that you like, we can order it in. I was like, so you want me to order a wedding dress that costs how much money without trying it on, just to hope that once it arrives in my size, that it will fit? And I literally had so many troubles with it. I went to one place and they gave me a dress and they were like, this might look nice on you. It won't fit, but just put it in front of you and stand in front of the mirror. Are you taking the mick? Literally, I went to like 5 or 6 different bridal boutiques, all local to me, and they were all saying the same thing, that they didn't have dresses to fit me. And I was a really big girl. But that shouldn't be a reason why I can't try on a wedding dress. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's literally the reason why my mum started her bridal boutique. So she has a plus size bridal boutique. And it was because of my experience looking for wedding dresses that she decided to open it. She was like, this is not on. I cannot have big girls going around to bridal shops and feeling like absolute crap when they walk out. Because I cried every time I left a bridal boutique the first time I was getting married. Every time I'd walk out crying, and my mum was like, well, there were some pretty ones there. Maybe we can see, maybe just try and imagine it. And it was awful. Yeah. So now she's opened a bridal boutique specifically for plus size. She caters to sizes 16 to 36. And it was literally because of the experience that I went through looking for plus size dresses. It's just an
Where is she based, Mercedes? Where's her bridal boutique?
She's based in South London. And she's like in the borough of Bromley. She's got a little boutique at the back of her house. And yeah, she does intimate one bride appointments, so you don't have to share with anybody else, because that was another thing that I really struggled with, is watching all these other people getting onto the podiums in their dresses and looking stunning, and I'm standing there holding a dress looking very embarrassed, like, oh my god, there's nothing here that fits me. So yeah, she does appointments and it's just one person and they get the whole time to themselves, which is really lovely. And yeah,
is she on social media?
Yeah. So she's on Instagram and Facebook at Lamore Curves Bridal. And yeah, she's been a big girl herself. I mean, I come from a family of big girls, so we're all big girls. So we know what we want. We know what it's like to wear a wedding dress all day. We know what we want to look comfortable in. We know which areas you want to hide, which areas you want to flaunt. So she's got loads of experience when it comes to dressing up big girls. She loves it.
We'll have to put her details in the details of the podcast for the episode. I'm with you. I think it's, this is supposed to be a joyous experience, and again, it's something that Ross and I talk about a lot. This is a celebration of your love. You're on show. Even if you have an intimate wedding, walking down the street to your venue, people know you're getting married. They're looking at you.
Exactly.
You've got a bouquet of flowers, you're getting married, people are looking at you, and it's supposed to be joyous. And I know wedding planning can be a bit shit sometimes, and it can grind you down, and you can think, oh my god, there just aren't enough hours in the day for all of this. But things like, shopping for your outfit, that's up there. That's got to be fun. That's got to be.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You look at yourself and go, look at me. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it is. I hate hearing this. That shopping for the outfit wasn't fun, and I came away feeling like crap, and comparing myself to other people standing on the podium. Hold the dress in front of yourself. Oh my god,
awful. It was absolutely awful. But that's the reason why she started her bridal boutique, and that's where I've gone for my wedding dress. So yeah, it worked out well for this wedding, but it was really hard.
Yeah. But out of things like that, good things come, So now there is somewhere great to go.
Yeah, a lot of our guests that are in the wedding industry, a lot of their inspiration came from their own negative experience of getting married. That seems to be a common thing. A lot of people that are trying to make a change and trying to cater to people that haven't been catered to are people that have been there and felt those things that you're feeling. What about you said you were bisexual. Have you had any assumptions made or any sort of frustrations from that?
Oh my god, all the time. So I have known that I have been bisexual for, I want to say, about 10 years.
Okay.
I only came out 3-ish years ago.
Oh wow.
And it was me coming out, which was kind of sort of part of the demise of my past, my ex-husband and I.
Right, okay.
But it was really weird coming out because everyone's like, but you got married to a man. And it was like, yes, because I'm attracted to both. That's kind of the point. I don't understand. People find it really hard to get around the idea that I am bisexual, but I was married to a man and I've left him and I've got married to another man. They're like, I don't really think you're bisexual. I don't think you understand how it works, Mercedes. I was like, yeah, I do know how it works. The whole point of being bisexual is that you're attracted to both species, to both sexes.
Men and women are different species.
To both sexes. And there's no kind of like, it doesn't need to be like an equal sort of attraction either. There's no, okay, you have to be attracted to 50% men and 50% women. That's not how bisexuality works. And I'm always trying to explain that to people. But I mean, people are like, oh, okay, well, you've been with a man. Have you ever had an experience with a woman? I was like, well, yeah, I've had experiences with women, but that's not what makes me bisexual. It's about how I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I hadn't had experiences with women, it's about how I feel and how I feel towards women. And that's what makes me bisexual. It's not about the experiences that I've had.
Do you feel frustrated that you even have to answer these questions though?
so frustrated. It's so frustrating because it's like people are basically saying, okay, you married a man, so prove you're bisexual because I don't believe you. Is basically what I get regularly.
And do you get that from sort of straight community and the LGBTQ community?
Just straight people.
Oh, really?
Really? It's just straight people. Like, people who are from the LGBT community are like, okay, so you consider yourself bisexual? Great, fine. But straight people are like, well, I ain't never seen you with a girl. So, like, that means you're not bisexual. And I'm just like, what? How do you know how I feel? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely more from the straight community that I feel like I need to explain myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, the LGBTQ community has just been open armed to me and have completely been lovely. And it's such an amazing community to be a part of. I like the camaraderie is just, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I love it. But yeah, it's weird because like I recently had someone say to me, yeah, you left one man and went to another man. Did you not want to see if you wanted to have a female experience in between that? And I'm like, that's not really how it works. I mean, me and my partner, if we were looking at a woman, we'd both turn our heads if a beautiful woman passed by. So I don't need to prove to anyone that I'm bisexual by going and having an experience with a woman. And you don't know what I've done in my past. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've had experiences with women. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. And I think that's the main struggle for me, is just people feeling that I need to prove that I'm bisexual.
Yeah, and well, I say it's only around sexuality. It's not only around sexuality, but I do find it very strange that sexuality is still so questioned. It's like this is who I am, you know.
Yeah.
I'm telling you who I am.
Yeah.
I'm telling you how I feel. Not that I have to, but I am.
Yeah.
So it's the questioning that gets me. It's that somehow you have to validate as well as deal with your sexuality. You then have to validate your sexuality.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say, as a straight woman, I have never had to validate my sexuality. Nobody's ever said to me, you know, are you sure you're straight?
Yeah.
So yeah, how bizarre that we still do it.
Yeah. And I think it's hard. I think it is harder for bisexual people, because one of my best friends is bisexual and she's currently with a woman, and everyone keeps saying to her, oh, so you're a lesbian? And she's like, no, I'm not a lesbian, I'm bisexual. They're like, but you're with a woman. She's like, that's the whole point. Why are you not understanding that I can be with a man or a woman? Yeah. And she gets it all the time, and I think it is a bit harder for bisexual people, because it's kind of like there's also that stigma where people think that bisexual people are just really greedy and just want to sleep around with everyone, and they're really promiscuous, and it's not like that at all. Like I've married someone. I've tried polyamory before, but I'm in a monogamous relationship now, and I'm still bisexual. The fact that I've married a man doesn't stop me from being bisexual.
Yeah.
No, it's funny how people's mindset works and their attitude works. That whole idea of, like you say, having to prove, or the idea that because you're bisexual, you're not gonna commit to one person and fall in love with one person, and you're always going to be looking for something else because you're not getting everything you need. It's strange, isn't it? What people assume. Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, conversations like this are so important, because I think for a lot of society, there is this, like, you know, we've got these boxes and we want you to sit firmly inside a box.
Yeah.
And I find it a lot with my daughter's disability. There are an awful lot of assumptions around what she should be capable of. And, you know, and she's got this little box that people want to pop her in, and she keeps popping out of this box and upsetting people. And I think as a society, we do have a tendency to have these boxes, and I just think conversations like this are so important, really, to make people think, you know, that isn't the case, that we are all individual, and unless we're hurting somebody with our individuality, we should be allowed. We should absolutely be allowed. There shouldn't be these questions, and we shouldn't be made to feel that we're less valid because we don't fit into someone's nice, neat little box.
Exactly.
So it's been a real eye opener. So for you, Mercedes, ticking all our boxes. we're very box friendly on this podcast. If we've got somebody listening right now who's thinking, you know, that's me, Mercedes, you know, I'm bisexual, or I'm a plus size bride, or I'm not seeing myself represented. Have you got any sort of tips, any ways of making this wedding planning process easier if you don't feel that you are being well represented or understood?
I'm trying to think what I've done. I mean, like I said, I tried to do a Pinterest board, which was very, disappointing. But I think, that's a hard one, because I mean, I'm still struggling with it. I think trying to find people who look like me in the wedding industry has been, it's been hard. I've not been able to. I mean, like you said, you do get the token one or two, but even then, like, I've seen some gorgeous black brides and couples, but then they're like stick thin, and then I've seen some gorgeous plus size brides, but then they're white, and then it's like, okay, so it's really hard to vision me. Like I said, that's the reason why I started doing styled shoots and started modeling for styled shoots, because plus size and black, virtually unseen. So I feel like I've really badly answered your question. I'm so sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because it just highlights that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And where do you think, this is a bit out there question, but whose responsibility do you think it is to make that change? Is it, because we talk about what me and Heidi talk about, what we can do as individual sort of sole trade suppliers? Does it come down more to the wedding industry media, or social media, or big blogs, or I definitely think that there needs to be more onus on the media, such as magazines and blogs and any other kind of outlets where they produce the content, because I have tried to put shoots forward where there was plus size bride, black bride, even a shoot that I did, which was me, a plus size bride, and it gets shut down. And usually they say things like, oh, it doesn't really meet our aesthetic. And I'm like, what's your aesthetic? Skinny? Is that what you're telling me? Is it because this girl is too big? Is that what the problem is? And I've had it numerous times. I'm not going to mention the names of blogs because I actually advertise with one of them, which is really terrible. But I get it all the time. So the onus is definitely on the media to open their minds and say, you know what, let's start representing what is real, because big people exist. And it's not just brides. There are big men out there as well. And you never, how often have you ever seen a big groom in a magazine or in a blog? That's so true. I was chatting to a couple of guys at a wedding fair recently, and they were plus size, both plus size, you know, in a relationship together. And they said they'd spoken to one photographer, and as they were speaking to him, he reached around them and handed out a leaflet to somebody else walking past, because he wasn't really interested in them. And then he had the nerve to follow up and saying, are you still interested in booking me? And they were like, you weren't even interested in us on the day when we met. And I think that happens all the time. Because and I also, sorry, go on.
Sometimes I feel like people have an aesthetic that they want their social media to look and they have an aesthetic that they want their website to look like, and they have this image of what they want to portray as their work. And sometimes it's like, okay, well, I don't fit that because I'm big, or I'm not the right height, or I'm too short. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a big struggle. And like I said, it's not just for women. I have never seen a plus size male in any
true, actually.
blog ever. So,
and I think I said it before, there's this whole idea that high end or fine art photography or anything like that, that aesthetic becomes such one thing. Like if it's high end, then you can't have a plus size bride or groom, or they have got lighter skin tones, and you see it all the time. That sometimes I feel like the only time I see sort of more representation is almost in brands that aren't trying to be, do you know what I mean, be at the top of the tree. And I think when there's a space, why should people of a certain colour or size be limited to what services and suppliers they have?
Of course, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we need to see that change, so that sometimes, like you say, you do see sort of black couples, but then it's very much targeted at black couples or for a black publication. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Whereas actually
100%,
we're only just seeing adverts on TV where you've got black families advertising a supermarket or something that's not specifically for a black family. It doesn't seem to be that. People seem to still think that if a white person sees a black couple advertising something, they can't relate to it, or it's not going to be
exactly. And that's something that because obviously I follow a lot of like My Afro-Caribbean Wedding, which is obviously just purely inspiration for like black couples, but then all of their followers are black as well, and that's obviously understandable because it's called My Afro-Caribbean Wedding. But it's like, that shouldn't be the only place that we have to go to inspiration for our weddings. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I also feel like, well, I'm marrying a white man. Can I go there for inspiration? Am I allowed to go and look at Afro-Caribbean Wedding? Because only half of us are black, really. So do you know what I mean? So it's like we get put into these little groups, and it's like, why can't black couples or interracial couples just be inspiration for everyone?
Exactly. I find that, and that I've been doing a marketing course, and they were talking about doing a wedding fair and just having one key image to be remembered by, and I struggled with that because I don't have one couple that everyone would identify with. And I like, when I'm at a wedding fair or people look at my website, they might see a dress that they like, or they might see a venue, or they might see a style, and it's not necessarily, a straight couple might be inspired by what a lesbian couple are wearing or something, like that. Exactly. And I like that. I think that's really important. There's not one couple, one photo that would represent everyone anyway.
Exactly.
So it's a funny one. Yeah.
Having an ethos, I think that's different from having sort of one image. If you've got an ethos.
Yes. Exactly.
You were saying, with your venue styling, your ethos is very much around sustainability and being environmentally friendly and hating balloons, and so I think it's fine to sort of have an ethos. And I on the whole, when people aren't being really naive, I do think most of the wedding suppliers that I work with, I think that sort of understanding that we need to see better representation of people is there. But I do still think that naivety exists. So the understanding is there, but then we do silly things like plan a Moroccan theme styled shoot with a gay couple. So, I just think we just need to keep, doing our best, learning, moving the dialogue forward, doing things like, your mum setting up a plus size boutique, you doing the modelling, people like us having these conversations around, because I do think when people hear it sometimes, it is a bit like me going, oh God, yeah, of course, that's really obvious. But until somebody says it out loud, you don't you don't sort of register.
Yeah.
So I just think these conversations are incredibly important. So I'm really grateful to you for talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, loads of stuff there for our listeners to go out and think, wow, yeah, that's the truth. I like it.
So if people want to see your wonderful work, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me via my website, which is www.foryourparty.co.uk, spelled the number 4 YA and then party.co.uk. Or you can find me on Instagram with my handle, that's it, at the number 4 YA party, so for your party. And yeah, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. Not that I use Twitter very often, but I'm there.
I don't think anyone does anymore, do they?
Sorry, Elon.
And where can people find your mum's bridal boutique as well?
Yeah, so hers is lemoorecurves.com, and her handle is at @lemoorecurvesbridal.
Fabulous. And we'll share all that on the description of this podcast. So thank you so much for your time, Mercedes, and good luck with your continued wedding planning and your big party next year. We can't wait to hear all about that.
Oh, so, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, actually. So.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you so much. Lovely to talk to you today. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.